Hey, what's up, cats and kittens? And shout out to all my cerebralites. It is she, the Cerebral Diva, and she is back and officially in the building with a brand new video. And in today's video, we are going to be discussing the queen of hot topics, Wendy Williams. I'm an avid watcher of the Wendy Williams show. Don't judge me. I don't judge you. But yes, I do watch Wendy Williams. I find her entertaining. Sometimes her irreverence can be humorous. Sometimes it can come off a little bitter. And in yesterday's episode, it came off not just bitter but hateful. So let's dive right in. Let's unpack this and let's talk about what happened. So on yesterday's episode of the Wendy Williams show, Wendy Williams was talking about Valentine's Day, right? Talking about Valentine's Day, and all the like, and how she doesn't necessarily celebrate them and believe these are commercialized holidays, just really meant to sort of exploit people and take advantage of them financially. So she goes on to talk about Valentine's Day, which is essentially a day for women to hang out with their girlfriends, to take a day to appreciate and show love to your girlfriends. Shout out to all my girls out there. And she was just basically saying how she just thought that it was a frivolous holiday. She thought it was stupid. And so she took a poll of the audience and asked people who was going to be celebrating Valentine's Day. So in the audience, one of the people who responded happened to be male. So as she's surveying the audience and he's applauding, she essentially admonishes him in front of the whole, not just the crowd, but in front of the whole world, because let's keep in mind that this is being broadcast, internationally. And so she goes on and on this whole diatribe about, you're not a girl. I'm so sick of you guys, want to be in our nail salons, want to be in all these women's personal spaces, and as a matter of fact, stay out of our clothes and our shoes, right? And as I was watching this, I was like, oh, Wendy. You know how you're watching a train wreck? Like you see these two trains or these two cars careening out of control, and you're watching them about to collide. And I'm watching her say this on TV, and I'm thinking to myself, please, you have to hear what you're saying right now. But she didn't. She doubled down. She went back and forth, and at one point the guy says, in defense of himself, I'm not that gay. So even he sort of jumped on the whole Dave Chappelle bus. You remember how Dave Chappelle was talking about this hierarchy in the LGBTQIAP plus community, and how gays are sort of driving the car, and the lesbians are in the passenger seat, and the bisexual people are in the front, and the trans people are way in the back. He was so embarrassed and so probably hurt by Wendy's comments that he felt the need to sort of level himself up on the totem pole and say, hey, I'm gay, but I'm not quite like them. So I think that people are challenging Wendy for what she said, but people aren't even mentioning the fact that he tried to make a distinction to say that I'm better than them. And when he said that I'm not that gay, you can audibly hear the audience laughing at the fact that he was making a distinction between himself and potentially trans people. Now here's where there's a little bit of nuance, right? So when Wendy says to the man in the audience, and not just to the man in the audience, but to men in general, because at some point it went from her talking to him to her speaking in general about men wearing women's clothes and handbags and being in nail salons and what have you. At that point, I was thinking to myself, okay, well, maybe she's not necessarily talking about trans people. Maybe she's not necessarily talking about cross-dressers in particular. Maybe she's more so talking about, I don't know, but I didn't necessarily think that she was being vitriolic in the sense of aiming it directly at the trans community. And here's why, right? Just the day before this whole incident happened, she was commenting on Dwayne Wade and Gabrielle Union's daughter and how supportive they were, and how how great it was to see someone at such a young age come into their own and figuring life out and understanding who they were. And she was very supportive. And Wendy has been, excuse me, an ally. She sort of had this checkered past with the LGBT community. So it's really hard to figure out if she's an ally or if she is an enemy, so to speak, because she's also known for outing people, making sort of these homophobic jokes. So I don't know. I can't figure out if she is just out of touch, or if she's ignorant, or if she's just this is us getting really a peek into who she really is. But the comments she made yesterday were on a whole other level. On a whole other level. And I'm laughing not at the fact that what she said was funny, but it's just like, who says that? Why would you let that come out of your mouth? And here's my thing too, right? This is me playing devil's advocate, and I know I might get in trouble with this, and I know some people might not like what I have to say. People's opinions are their opinions. You have the right to believe whatever it is that you believe. I don't necessarily have a problem with what people believe. I have a problem with legislation that prevents people from being safe, that prevents people from being discriminated against, because the bottom line is that we can't control the thought processes of other human beings. That's just not something that you can legislate. So if Wendy believes that men wearing women's clothing is not okay, she's okay. And you know what's... Okay, I'll have to come back to this point. You know what's so funny to me is for Wendy... Oh, Lord Jesus, I'm going to get in so much trouble. What's so interesting to me is that when you look at Wendy is so trans adjacent. I'm just going to leave it there. I'm not going to leave it there. When you look at Wendy, there are a lot of things that are trans-esque about Wendy that would lead you to believe that perhaps, maybe she's, you know what I mean? I'm trying my best to choose my words carefully here, people. But there are a lot of things about Wendy that are suspect, that would make people say, hey, something in the milk, what's going on here? There's a little bit there. She's a transformer. There's more than meets the eye. Maybe transformer isn't more. Look, don't come on my comments, right? There's more than that meets the eye, right? And so for Wendy to be someone who's often the victim of sort of trans slurs, you would think that she would have a little bit more empathy and a little bit more compassion and a little bit more wherewithal, just because she knows that very often that is the go-to insult that people use to hurt her. So I just thought that was just, I don't know, I just thought it was in really, really poor taste. Shout out to all my trans viewers and listeners, by the way. The one thing about this channel here is that this is a judgment-free zone. And Wendy's diatribe really sort of puts a spotlight on homophobia and transphobia in the Black community. This is a real problem. This is a real problem because if you watch the show, you will hear when Wendy is saying this, you will hear other women applauding what she's saying. You will hear them applauding. Now, I'm not sure if they were being encouraged by Suzanne, who is often, sort of encouraging people to clap. I'm not sure people were clapping because they were genuinely on board with what she was saying. But you could hear other people who were of the same ilk or the same belief as Wendy, who were applauding what she was saying. So, in my opinion, this is a conversation that needs to be had. Like, Wendy has a huge platform, right? And she's always doing these frivolous topics, the Met Gala, who's the best dressed, worst dressed, the Oscars best dressed, worst dressed. I think that this particular incident is an opportunity for Wendy to elevate her platform and use it as edutainment, in the words of KRS-One. Bring on some trans activists, have conversations, bring on some androgynous gay men who don't necessarily identify as trans but still enjoy wearing women's clothing, because the fact is, and this is the fact, and I know a lot of people will get mad at me once again for what I'm about to say, is that there is a double standard. There is a double standard. Women are allowed to go and buy men's track shoes. Women are allowed to go and buy men's track suits. Women are allowed to buy boyfriend jeans. Women are allowed to sort of wear a man's pantsuit. Women are given this spectrum in which they're allowed to operate in terms of expressing themselves aesthetically. You know, women are allowed to cut their hair short, and no one bats an eyelash. No one would think twice about a woman who chose to put on a man's baseball cap, some Timberland boots, and go about her day. No one would care. It just would not be a big deal. But we don't give men the same leeway. And, you know, there may be some, you know, sexuality is a spectrum. The more I live, the more I learn. And you learn that there are some men who may enjoy putting on a women's blouse, but have absolutely no desire to sleep with a man. I know that is mind-blowing for some of you. I know that is a hard thing conceptually for some people to grasp, but there are heterosexual men out there who may just have a penchant for, I've known men before who say, well, you know, I like to go to the female section to buy blouses because the blouses are going to be more colorful, more vibrant. And these are men who will wear a woman's blouse because they feel like they're better designed in terms of color schemes and patterns and so what have you. So we have to be a little bit more forgiving in terms of what we allow men to wear. You know, even last week, a week ago, however long it was, when Pastor Troy came out with this whole rant about not winning a Grammy because of what Lil Nas X was wearing. All of this, you know, this whole attack on, you know, black masculinity, you know, this sort of agenda to emasculate the black man. Like, all of this stuff to me is so bizarre. So bizarre. People expressing themselves and people living out loud and people coming out of the shadows to say, hey, I'm here too, I matter, I count, and asking for visibility isn't an agenda. I guess it is an agenda in the sense that the people want to be accounted, they want to be seen and accepted and understood. So if that is the agenda that you speak of, then yeah, there definitely is an agenda for inclusivity. Like, everyone has the right to be alive, everyone has the right to be happy, everyone has the right to a safe space, and no one has the right to infringe on that and believe that whatever they believe somehow makes anyone else inferior to them. So having said that, I think I pretty much covered all of the bases. I'm just trying to think if there's anything else that I want to say. So anyway, today's show, the Wendy Williams show, began with her apologizing, a sort of a tearful apology. I felt like it was really sincere, but I really feel like even though the apology was sincere, I felt like yesterday we got a peek into, you know, the true Wendy Williams and what she really feels, because this is not the first time she said that. I've heard her mention the whole nail salon and not liking men in nail salons, etc. before. So this isn't the first time that she's said something on this scale, but yesterday she went all in, and I think she really put her foot in her mouth, and I feel like the network, the production company, whomever, the powers that be, pulled her aside and said, hey, no, yesterday's show, not cool. We're going to need to walk that back, and you need to begin with an apology, because yesterday you did the and the most. And I think that she knew that, you know, in this day and age of cancel culture, yesterday was definitely a cancellation moment in the Wendy Williams show. while I don't think that she'll be canceled, hopefully this will be a learning opportunity, not just for Wendy, but just for people in general. That we have to have a live and let live, uh, a live and let live sort of approach towards individuality. If people aren't bothering you, why are you bothered by people? That's what I don't understand. Why are you bothered by other people who aren't bothering you? Whether they're dressed in a way that you don't approve of, whether they're wearing something that you don't, necessarily agree with. Why is that a problem for you? To me, if you are so bothered by what someone else is doing with their own life, it really is an indication that you're not happy in your own life, or that you don't have enough to do. Because I have so much to do in my own life that I don't have the time, the energy, the bandwidth to give to anything um, frivolous. And I definitely deem what someone else is wearing frivolous. I definitely deem whom someone else is sleeping with is frivolous. That's your business. As long as it's two consenting adults, this is what you want to do. You're not doing it in public. No one's being hurt or harmed in the process. It's really not my business. So I don't really invest my time and energy in that. And I wish that black people are so pious and so dogmatic that religion comes into every single conversation. And the religious component really bothers me because it's always cherry picking religion. All of these people of African American descent who are having sex out of wedlock, having children out of wedlock, tattooing themselves, piercing themselves, eating shellfish, all of these things that the Bible preaches against, they still choose to do, and they make excuses for why they're able to do those things. But for one reason, the sticking point seems to be transsexuality, homosexuality, that people just find a problem with. And I just don't understand why you can't allow people to live the life that they choose to live. I mean, if you really put your prejudices aside and just get to know people as people, as opposed to judging people based on how they present, you might encounter really, really good quality people. Really good quality people. So I'm going to step down off of my soapbox. I think I said enough. At this point, I want to hear what you guys have to say. Not just about Wendy Williams, but just about homosexuality, transsexuality, androgyny in the black community, the double standards about how women are allowed to express themselves through their clothes in a masculine way, but men aren't given the same leeway. I really want to know what you think, so make sure you comment below. Just keep the comments respectful. You don't have to agree with what I say. That's the whole thing about this platform. I don't want people to think that my way is the only way, because if you believe something different, or something that's counter to my own opinion, I'm open to that. But please keep the comments respectful. Because at the end of the day, if you say something ignorant, I'm just going to block it. So if you want to waste your time writing an ignorant comment that no one will see, then have at it. But if you want to have a conversation in general just about, differences and why you think that it's important, then definitely do that. And really quick, one more thing. I know I was about to go, but I just want to say this. Shout out to Dwayne Wade and Gabrielle Union, parents of the decade. Parents of the decade. That little girl, with all due respect, is changing so many lives and so many minds. And Gabrielle Union and Dwayne Wade are changing so many lives and so many minds, in ways that they won't feel today, but this is going to be a long lasting impact, because this is unprecedented. We've never seen this before, not in my lifetime. I can never remember a black trans kid. We had Chastity Bono, who was born to Cher and Sonny, but we've never seen a black trans kid, a black celebrity trans kid, grow up with the public support. You have E.J. Johnson, who isn't trans, but who is probably more along the line of who Wendy Williams was speaking about. but excuse me, we haven't really seen this before. And I think it's incredible because to me, Gabrielle Union and Dwayne Wade are a testament to good parenting, a testament to unconditional love. You know, that they're, man, I'm trying so hard to end this video, but there's just so many layers to it. Even the whole thing about, people are, why should you should let your child transition at an early age. Well, the child isn't transitioning, the child is taking blockers until they are of age to make a decision in terms of where they want to go. So once you take away the blockers, puberty will resume, and there's no harm, no foul. I think that is a great compromise. I think that, when kids are 12, 11, 10, whatever, any age beyond 18, any age prior to 18, should I say, it might be a little too early to begin transitioning, but I think that the hormone blocker thing is really a great compromise because it puts them in a state of arrested development in terms of their physiology, and gives them the opportunity at some point in time to say, hey, remember when I was talking about I wanted to be X, now I want to be Y. And you haven't really done anything that can't be undone at that point. So I think that's a fantastic compromise. And I just think that Gabrielle Union and Dwayne Wade are just like superheroes in my book. To not to just do it, but to be so public about it, to be so supportive. And you see her brothers wearing t-shirts talking about tolerance and acceptance and, love. And it's just like, it makes me cry because ultimately there is so much vitriol, so much hate in this world. And this child is going to be walking into a world where there is so much hate simply based on who she is, that it's nice to see that she at the very least has a respite in terms of her home and her family. So I don't know. I mean, at the end of the day, love your kids. Whatever, good, bad, what have you, just love your children, support your children, be there for your children, listen to your children, even when you disagree with some of the choices and decisions that they're making, because what you have to understand is that who they are is who they will be. And, when you don't allow conversations to happen, then you sort of paint them in a corner where they're forced to choose themselves or you. And that's not a choice that you really want people to make, because if they choose you, then ultimately they will suppress who they are, but wind up not living a happy existence, in some cases being suicidal. But if you give them the space to simply be who they are, then you'll find that you build a healthier relationship, and you have a healthier child. So I'm going to leave it there. Again, comment below. I really want to know what you guys think. As always, in closing, people, remember to live better, love harder, think smarter, and sometimes keep your inner thoughts inner. It is me, the Cerebral Diva. I will talk to you guys again soon. Have a great day, and happy Valentine's Day. Bye-bye.